coming up.
The castle steward likes to refer to this as the gateway to another world.
A journey to the Renaissance with Dame Eden and the heroic knights of old. How love led her to the game of jousting.
I'm very proud to be part of what I do. Very proud of being part of the heroic knights of old, which actually came to be because another joust company wouldn't let a female joust.
And he has a vision for higher education in Indian country.
I looked at some of the statistics and some of the horror stories about what was going on at the boarding schools. So I knew that in a position as president, I would be able to make some changes.
How Dr. Robert Martin leads using the students' voices at the nation's premier Indian art school in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
I always get a little jittery before a big dinner.
Executive Chef Taelor Barton brings authentic Cherokee food to a hip Tulsa restaurant. Her grandmother's legacy, her most valuable tool.
The Cherokees.
A thriving American Indian tribe.
Our history.
Our culture.
Our people.
Our future.
The principles of a historic nation.
Sewn into the fabric of a modern world.
Hundreds of thousands strong.
Learning. Growing.
Succeeding.
And steadfast.
In the past, we have persevered through struggle.
But the future is ours to write.
Osiyo.
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 These are the voices of the Cherokee people.
Osiyo, I'm Principal Chief Bill John Baker. Welcome to the Cherokee Nation. This is how we share our culture, our heritage, our history, and our language with you. Wado.
Osiyo, it's how we say hello in Cherokee, and welcome to summer in the Cherokee Nation. In this episode, we'll meet the president of the Institute of American Indian Arts and hear his philosophy on pushing the envelope and his school forward. Plus, we'll share a meal with an executive chef who draws inspiration from her late grandmother, a Cherokee national treasure. But first, Amy Staton is a Cherokee Nation citizen who aspired to do something no woman before her had ever done. She became a jouster at Oklahoma's largest Renaissance fair, and now she has quite the following as Dame Eden.
My name is Amy Staton, born and raised in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and I'm a female jouster here at the Castle of Muskogee. I work for Heroic Knights of Old and Staton's Keep Jousting, and on the field I portray Dame Eden. Today we're going to be rehearsing, getting ready for the upcoming season of Oklahoma Renaissance Festival. The castle steward likes to refer to this as the gateway to another world. We try to keep in character completely, which means speaking in accents, and we don't bring anything modern into the society. And the idea is once you come through the gates, you are in Castleton, England, which is a border town between England and Ireland. So a typical day of rehearsing with Heroic Knights of Old includes arming up in minimal armor, the helm, the shield, and just training pads. And we're going to get into the list. We'll run the horses a few times to remind them of the pattern. Then we'll trade hits in the list. We'll be practicing some targeting by doing aerial thrown rings. And then we're going to practice a little sword play as well and use some ground weapons.
Go out, man. I take it right there a lot of the times.
It's really scary to see someone swinging an axe at your head, and you've got this thing to block with, but when it hits, he's swinging with full force. So when it hits, and then I go back and I look at my shield and I see the chunks missing out of it. That's when it gets real. I grew up in Tahlequah, Oklahoma on a lot of Indian land that my grandparents had got when they signed the Dawes Commission. I never owned a horse, we never had a horse. We were too poor to have anything like that. This handsome fella is Titan. Titan is lovingly referred to as the Eeyore of the joust list here because you can see by this long face and expression, nobody loves him. He's a big spoiled baby and I love him. He takes great care of me. There are plenty of times where I'm getting up on that horse and listening to them get the crowd going, and I have to calm myself and center myself because I still get jittery inside because it's a lot. You're going against two guys that are definitely stronger than me. You're on a huge horse who, if he ever actually felt like it, he could chunk me easily. And even though I'm wearing armor, I know for a fact when you fall off the horse, it hurts and you end up in the ER. When you put on the helm, it's interesting because everything goes away. All the screaming of the crowd, all the cheering, all the people, all the flags. And as soon as I put on that helm, it's Titan and I, and that person at the end of the list. And that's all I see. When I started working at the castle in 2010, myself and my two older children, we came out here and they worked in the children's room, of course, and I worked in a pub. I had never even seen a joust. The only contact I had with the jousters was when they walked through my pub to get water or get a soda or something. And truth be told, there was one jouster that I thought was pretty doggone handsome.
The gentleman standing next to me, this is Sir Richard, the 3rd Earl of Staton, otherwise known as Rick Staton. Little did I know, as I was staring at him as he was going to the pub, he was lingering at the doors and staring at me as I was dancing around the floor and waiting on the patrons and playing with the bards.
Well, what really happened is she came down to the joust field on a certain day with apples for the horses. And one of the other knights was in for a 1 weekend, and he tried to flirt with her.
No, there was no try. It
and
was
I drove
really.
him away and said, "No, that one's mine. Leave her alone."
And we got married a couple years afterwards. So one thing went to another, and the next season I left the pub, ended up on the joust field as a squire, and then the night marshal, and then learned from there. The first year I spent as a squire, all of a sudden I'm in someone else's shadow, which did not sit well with me. And so after a year as his squire and watching everybody, "Oh, Sir Richard, Sir Richard," and I'm just the girl who fetches Sir Richard's water, I said, you got a choice here. I'm either going back to my pub or you can teach me how to do this. Right after that, I got my own horse, I got my own armorer, I got my own swords, and I learned how to do this. But having never ridden a horse before in my life, I got a crash course. Dame I had to earn, because that's a title given to a female knight. There are different ways to become a knight. You can be a birthright knight, which means you were born into it. I'm the different one out here. I am the commoner's knight. I am the people's knight. And my character rose up, earned her stripes the hard way, and now fights against all the people with titles. Of course, you get people who come to a Renaissance festival and they want you to be historically accurate. So they look at you first and they go, well, there were no female knights. Yes, there were. Look up Order of the Hatchet. Look up Order of the Rose, which was a Catholic order of knights. Then they look at you and go, historically accurate, there were no commoner knights. Yes, there were. There were many times, just like in the Civil War and other historical battles throughout history and other areas, we see women stepping onto the field and taking the place of a man's role. I'm very proud to be part of what I do. Very proud of being part of the heroic knights of old, which actually came to be because another joust company wouldn't let a female joust. At the end of the show, I always go to the fence, and it's great because you get this rush of mostly little girls who just come running up. Before I started doing this, they came out dressed as princesses or ladies of the court. And it's really neat because now I don't want to be the ladies of the court all the time. Little girls are stepping up to be knighted as dames. It's kind of been an honor to be a part of all that and watch their faces change and watch their worlds evolve. I hope and pray that I can do this for many years to come. And should I ever have to retire my sword, I hope there is a young lady out there who is ready to step into my boots and take up my banner and continue this fight and this game that is jousting.
Dr. Robert Martin is a Cherokee Nation citizen with a passion for higher education in Indian country. As president of the nation's premier Indian art school, Dr. Martin's leadership is transforming its campus and thousands of art students.
For me, the leadership means being of service, and that's the way I view my position. I'm here to support the students, support the faculty and staff, and to ensure that they have the equipment, supplies, materials, the buildings that they need to be successful.
Please join me in welcoming our president, Dr. Robert Martin.
Well, thank you. And Osiyo, congratulations, class of 2017. And this gathering certainly is a celebration of your success and honoring in recognition of your achieving your academic goals at the Institute of American Indian Arts. Well, I had been interested in Indian education. I looked at, some of the statistics and some of the horror stories about what was going on at the boarding schools. So I knew that in a position as president, I would be able to make some changes, make some improvements, and move things forward. It seems like I've been really fortunate, been blessed to have been in the right place at the right time to be of service, both at SIPI and then on at Haskell and then at Tonawattum Community College and then here. I think our mission is unique. You won't find other programs, especially fine arts programs, that are offered from a Native American perspective. And so that makes our museum studies unique, our film program unique, across the board. So I think, too, if you look back on the history with Lord Kivanu, our visionary founder, that gave us our philosophy, but the difference was that culture was celebrated. And for Lord Kivanu, it was actually the source of the cultural heritage of our students was the source of their creativity. But that was just a springboard to go forward with their originality and innovation in art. And so that was totally different from any other BIA boarding school or day school or whatever. Culture was celebrated. So this is the birthplace of contemporary Native art.
I mean, Dr. Martin is he's just amazing. I mean, he really is. If you look around at our campus, most of these buildings have come under his leadership. And the programs that have been developed have come under his leadership.
Whatever it is, we've got state-of-the-art facilities. We're incorporating technology into everything that we do. That's a real plus here at the Institute of American Indian Arts. I'm not an artist myself, but I really appreciate what art brings to our society and especially to Native communities, and know how important it is. I think it is encouraged for an artist, no matter what the medium, to be able to express their emotions, how they're feeling about things, make political statements. It's a way to express themselves and not have to hold it within. Wilma Mankiller was a frequent speaker on my campus, and she said that in terms of the value of education, whoever controls the education controls the future of our children. And that's why it's so important for Native American communities, tribal nations, to work toward controlling the education of their children. Well, the students are why we're here, so one of our priorities is student success, so whatever we can do. I hope that they go and, one, that they're happy and enjoy life. And a lot of people ask me, well, how long are you going to continue as president of the Institute of American Indian Arts? And I say, as long as I enjoy it. So first thing, I hope they enjoy whatever they're doing and surround themselves as much as possible with positive people and positive things and have that kind of outlook. But I hope they're in a position, and I think among our graduates today, I know that they're going to make a difference where they go. It is an honor for me to present to you, on behalf of the faculty of the Institute of American Indian Arts, our 2016 and 2017 graduates. And by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree as indicated on your diploma. You can now move your tassels to the left. Congratulations, graduates. I think I was introverted, shy, quiet, but I could empathize and identify with our students today that, in terms of finding the voice, and it's easy to look at the history of Native Americans and Cherokee Nation and say, we've got a limited time here, and we can make a big difference.
After European contact by the 1700s, the traditional Cherokee family and political system began to transition from matrilineal clans into nuclear families headed by men. Because of this change, orphaned children who were once cared for by the adults of his or her clan relied on the now centralized Cherokee government to provide for their care and upbringing. These provisions were much needed following the immense loss of life resulting from both the Trail of Tears and the Civil War. By 1875, the nation had secured the former mansion of prominent Cherokee Lewis Ross, located near Salina, and enlarged it so that it could house more than 100 orphans. The Cherokee National Council selected Walter Adair Duncan to be the superintendent of the Cherokee Orphan Asylum. Duncan ran the asylum as a home first and school second, a place where the children called the staff aunt and uncle. The majority of the teachers were Cherokee, and so classes were taught in both English and Cherokee, which provided more learning opportunities for students who only spoke Cherokee. In addition to academics, Superintendent Duncan also acquired a printing press so that the children could learn typesetting. In the fall of 1880, they began to publish The Children's Playground, a newsletter that was printed along with Duncan's Orphan Asylum Press. The Children's Playground was written entirely by the students and featured their poems, essays, and thoughts on life at the asylum. Editor Lizzie Stinson took to the soapbox in her composition entitled, "If We Would Mind Our Own Business," while other students wrote odes to such simple subjects as birds, trees, dogs, and desks. The playground also contained reports on students' academic performance, while retaining the motto, "A little nonsense now and then is relished by the best of men." A fire destroyed the Cherokee Orphan Asylum on November 17, 1903, at which time the orphans were transferred to other institutions or provided for by the tribe in different ways. This spring house, which was once the source of water for the asylum's residents, is the only remaining relic of the Cherokee Orphan Asylum. Now in the Salina City Park, the spring house is one of the oldest structures in the state and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
Let's talk Cherokee. I like you. Galagwadi.
Galagwadi.
You are my friend. Ginali.
Ginali.
I love you. Gangayui.
Gangayui.
Do you want to have coffee? Kawike Danaditahi.
Kawike Danaditani.
Cherokee Nation's economic impact on the state of Oklahoma now exceeds $2 billion. Tribal officials celebrated at a luncheon as economists released a new report showing our continued growth in 2016. The Cherokee Nation directly employs more than 11,000 people in Oklahoma and across the U.S. Combined direct and indirect employment in northeastern Oklahoma alone totals 17,788 jobs, supporting $785 million in total wages and benefits. The Cherokee Nation's government and business locations are spread throughout its 14-county jurisdictional area, which encompasses most of northeastern Oklahoma.
Being able to diversify and build on our economy and create jobs outside of gaming is truly a blessing.
Cherokee Nation Businesses operates more than 24 businesses that span numerous industries, including consulting, health sciences, real estate, technology, distribution and logistics, engineering, manufacturing, construction, and environmental services. The Cherokee Nation filed a landmark lawsuit against several companies, charging them with failing to prevent the flow of illegally prescribed opioids to people in the Cherokee Nation. This lawsuit is the first of its kind filed in the United States, as it seeks to hold some national corporate retailers and distributors accountable for perpetuating the opioid crisis in the Cherokee Nation. According to the DEA, an estimated 845 million milligrams were distributed in the 14 counties of the Cherokee Nation in 2015. Cherokee Nation officials helped to dedicate the new Whitewater Bridge in Delaware County. After the bridge sustained severe flooding damage in 2015, the tribe committed to cover 80% of the cost of replacement, totaling more than $761,000. Delaware County funded the remaining 20%. The new Whitewater Creek Bridge creates safer school bus routes and travel for residents and faster emergency response times.
It was easy to determine that this bridge was a priority. Our roads department is, I think, the best in the business, and they came forward with some federal funds. We worked with the council, of course, Council of the Cherokee Nation, and we made it happen.
Cherokee Nation improved more than 53 miles of roadway and 5 bridges at a cost of $23.6 million in fiscal year 2016. For more Cherokee Nation news, visit onadiskoe.com or go to Osio.tv and click on links mentioned. Taelor Barton is the executive chef of a restaurant in downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma. Drawing inspiration from her late grandmother, Taelor hopes to share traditional knowledge through food.
I'm like rushing through my mind, like, okay, I gotta have all this ready. Going through the checklist. I always get a little jittery before a big dinner. It's a mixture of anxiety, excitement. April 19th, I have a special event. I'm gonna be holding a multi-course Native American dinner. That's where I'm going to show off kind of the basics of what it meant to be cooking out in the wilderness or away from mainstream civilization. Besides learning how to cook at home, while I was in high school, I went to Tulsa Technology Center for culinary arts and just taught me so much in such a short amount of time, and it got me really involved in the cooking community. The biggest thing that I had learned going to school versus cooking at home was a much more social event. In learning our traditional curriculum, we gotta get to the basics, we gotta be quick about it. That was the big difference. It was like, okay, now we're cooking for people for a living, gotta get it on time. Timing is key. Edith and Owen Knight are my mother's parents. Any family events or any time there was a babysitting, it was my grandparents would take care of me. And it would be for weeks at a time that we'd just go and hang out in Stillwell, Oklahoma with them. I'd go there, my grandfather would take me four-wheeling out in the woods. Meanwhile, inside, my grandma would be cooking. And when I'd come in from playing outside, she'd be like, okay, wash up. It's time to start cooking. She had taught me many times how to make knechi. She would talk me through the process. But anytime she'd make that, she was like, Taelor, it's your favorite food. You need to get to the table so you can eat some. And I'd just run inside and be ready because she was making knechi. That was just one of the things that I always look forward to. It's just Grandma's knechi. My grandma passed away March 30th, 2016. She basically was the person that taught us about our heritage. And there was a little bit of I feel like I'm gonna lose that if she were to be gone. And whenever that did happen, I was like, no, she's taught us the things that she wants us to learn. She's fostered in us a desire to learn more about who we are. I have so many questions now that I never even thought to ask her before she died. Now I'm like, if I could just pick her brain, she would be telling me how to do things in order to keep it Native American. So the idea that came for this dinner was, I wonder what Native American food really is. When I was asked the question, what is Native American food, I almost stopped a little bit. Because we all know that a burger and fries is American, or a pizza is Italian. But where would those cultures be without the agricultural influence of the Americas? So what I've done for you guys tonight is taking things that Native Americans had access to in old times. I am taking that and taking it up a notch. 3 things that I found to be Native American. The berry sauce is wojapi, and it is served with carrot chips. And then we have cornbread crackers and a smoked salmon spread. The second course, I have an Indian taco with ground bison, and then I'm serving that with 3 sisters vegetables. I want people to know, like, the reason why I want to bring awareness to the Native American culture in Tulsa. I'm actually very surprised for as close as we are to Cherokee Nation, how little Tulsa has to do with Cherokee Nation in cuisine and in culture. There are people that are inside Tulsa city limits that know a lot about Native Americans, but I'd like to get more people involved. So we're done with the 3rd course. We're gonna be moving into our 4th course, which is our dessert course. If you've never had grape dumplings before, it is pieces of dough simmered in Concord grape juice. They are a old Cherokee favorite dessert that we all love to share recipes of. Being Native American means to me is not just what you look like. It's the history, the stories that you've heard growing up, and the connection to your past that you keep alive. A lot of people from other parts of the country don't have this, and they don't even know where they came from. And I am fortunate to have the history behind how I got here. And had it not been for a couple of key moves in history, I wouldn't have grown up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So little changes like that really make an impact of who you are growing up in the future.
Coming up next time on Osiyo, Voices of the Cherokee People. Mixing traditional Cherokee art with images of modern-day society, how Joseph Erb is constantly pushing the tribe and our language forward.
I'm hoping that in 1,000 years, someone will have a piece of my artwork, my gorget, and see the language. And they'll know what it says, but it'll still exist in that.
Watch for that story and much more on the next Osiyo, Voices of the Cherokee People. We hope you enjoyed our show. And remember, you can always watch entire episodes and share your favorite stories online at Osiyo.tv. There is no Cherokee word for goodbye. We say, Doda dago ha'i. We'll see each other again. So until next time, wado.